All right, hey there, Facebook friends. You've caught me in a casual moment. I'm relaxing downstairs. But on Facebook, in my six-figure sales strategies group on Facebook, Bill Stout did a shout out to me about a close that I share, which is really just a way of responding to a customer who says, I've got you beat down the road and I'm going to go down the road to a place where I can buy it cheaper. And Bill Stout said that he was able to use the three waiters approach to help the customer see value in him. He did it over the phone, and it helped him secure the deal. Mike Davenport then chirped in and said that he also loves the close, and it started a whole thread about what's the three-waiter close? What's the three-waiter close? And so I'm going to share with you in this quick video what the three-waiter close is and help you use this in response to a customer who may say to you, I've got you beat down the road, and I'm going to go to the place I can buy it the cheapest. Now, in order for this to work, I'm going to preface this by saying the three-waiter close is a simple example of how value overcomes price consideration if, in fact, there is higher value. So obviously, the premise here has to be that you've provided higher value, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. But let's for now assume that you've done your part, that you have contributed the value, and in my philosophy, the massive value that you have to provide to clients in order to earn their confidence in their business. Assuming you've done that, here is essentially how to respond to a customer who's telling you they got you beat down the road in a way that edifies and builds up your value and that helps the customer make a choice to still choose you and do business with you. And so here we go. Very simply this. When a customer says, I got you beat down the road, my first response typically is something as simple as, you know what? I appreciate you sharing that with me, and it doesn't really surprise me. When I say to a customer, I'm not really surprised to hear that, the reason I say that is because, in fact, it's true. I'm not actually surprised to hear that they have found something down the road similar for less money. In fact, in a competitive marketplace, it's very common that there would be somebody selling something similar for a little bit higher or a little bit lower. That's very normal. In fact, in any business, I like to think that a good and healthy business understands that if I'm always going to be the highest, I'm going to go out of business. If I'm always going to be the lowest, I'm going to go out of business. So what I want to do is I want to be fair and competitive so that I can have a good and healthy business. So the client says to me, you know what, I got you beat down the road. I found another vehicle I can buy for less money. I'm going to go where I can get it cheaper. I say, I appreciate so much you sharing with me that you found a vehicle down the road for less money. Doesn't, in fact, surprise me at all to hear that. In a competitive marketplace, there's going to be people who are offering similar products for less money. My question to you is simply this. If my pricing, and this is important that you communicate clearly to the client, if my pricing were similar, even if I was a little bit higher, as long as it's not unreasonable, wouldn't you rather buy from me and buy this vehicle and buy it now? If my pricing were similar to the vehicle down the road, even if it was a little bit higher, as long as it's not unreasonable, and you get to be the judge of what's reasonable, wouldn't you rather buy from me, buy this vehicle and buy it now? Now, let's say the client says, you know what? No, I'm going to go where I can get it less. The dealer down the road says they can sell it for less, and that's where I'm going to go. At that point, if the client insists that they're going to choose to go down the road just to save money, here is where your approach of the three-waiter close comes in. It's a simple response that says something like this. I say, I really appreciate you sharing that with me, but I want to share with you a question that I have for you, and I want to see what your response would be to it. I want you to imagine for a moment that you go to the exact same restaurant 3 nights in a row. And here is why. The first night you go to celebrate your new purchase. You bought the truck, you bought it from me or wherever you bought it, you bought the truck and you go to celebrate. And you go to their favorite restaurant. I'm sure you have a favorite. You go to your favorite restaurant. When you arrive there, the waiter that you encounter is incompetent. Incompetent simply means that they don't know what they're doing. They're trying, but they don't really know what they're doing. In this case, the waiter simply doesn't understand the process. So they don't bring the food out piping hot. They don't make sure that your glasses are refilled all the time. They're just incompetent. They're trying, but they don't know what they're doing. They're new. That's okay. But it ruins your celebration dinner. So you decide, that's it. I'm going to come back again. So you come back the next day. The next day you get another waiter. Same restaurant, same meal. But this time the waiter is indifferent. Indifferent means they don't really care. This waiter doesn't even care that you're there. They're more interested in flirting with the other staff than they are in making sure your meal's piping hot or making sure that your drinks are refilled. So this ruins your evening yet again. You're like, this is the second time I've tried this. So you decide, that's it, I'm coming back again tomorrow. 3 nights in a row, the same restaurant, the same meal, you get a different waiter. This waiter is professional. They make sure your food is piping hot, never have to ask for a refill. They take care of your meal. In fact, they offer you a dessert you weren't even planning on having, and you love the dessert. Do you give all three waiters the same tip? And of course, the customer says, no. Well, no, of course I wouldn't. And I say, and do you know why that is? They say, well, because obviously different services. Actually, because you recognize that if in fact someone has done a quality job in the experience and service they've provided you, then it is perfectly reasonable for you to provide them a gratuity or a higher level of price relative to the value that you've received. So you might go from giving 10% to giving, 20% to giving 25 or 30%. You might double your tip because of the value that you've gotten in the service. So my question to you is the same as before. I understand you want the best price, but my question is, if my pricing were similar, but even if I was a little bit higher, as long as it's not unreasonable, wouldn't you rather buy from me, buy this vehicle and buy it now? And in doing this very simple 3 waiters example, you'll find that customers are brought to the reality that they every single day make a choice based on value and service. And they often choose to spend more than they needed to simply as a recognition of the value of the service that they were provided. This is called the 3-waiter close or the 3-waiter response. It's very simple. Every customer can relate to it. Every human being can relate to it. We've all had experiences where we opted to pay more money simply because we saw greater value. And that is a reasonable thing to do. If your customer's given the option to do you the service of buying from you, and you have provided the quality service of that 3rd waiter, then you should use the 3-waiter story. Obviously, you have to be the 3rd waiter, otherwise the whole story kind of goes backwards on you. Now, I see some comments on here, and I'm going to just kind of scroll through real quick and see if I can see anything that I need to address. Otherwise, I see a whole bunch of people joining in. 3-waiter close, Josh Barnett, thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Bunch of my friends joining on, thank you so much. Digging the camo shirt, yeah, this is actually from a youth camp. So this is, I do a youth camp every year, and this was a couple years back when we did the movie We Were Soldiers. And we did the film We Were Soldiers with all the youth, and this is the shirt all the kids got at the youth camp. So that's what that is. Thanks, Bruce, for the shout out on the shirt. Thanks, Noel, Velko, Mark, Jeff, bunch of you, my friends joining in. Love the story. Customers love stories. That's exactly right. Stories sell. Facts tell. Stories sell. Thanks, Chris Weeby. Good shout out to you, brother. All right, thanks, Jared, Scott Donaldson. Good to see you online. I hope this was helpful. This is the 3-waiter story. Again, there are 3 waiters. 1 is incompetent, 1 is indifferent, and 1 is excellent. And do they all get the same tip? And of course, the answer should be no. And even the most hardened, most difficult client that you have who just wants the lowest price, even they can resonate with this story. And as long as you're the 3rd waiter, then the following premise applies. If my pricing were similar, even if I was a little bit higher, as long as it's not unreasonable, wouldn't you rather buy from me, buy this vehicle and buy it now? And the answer should be a resounding yes. And then all you have to do is secure the difference and get them to say yes. All right, Jerry Peppers, Evan, good to see you guys. Jeff Bates, Mr. Rebates, thanks guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I've got to post this thread to the 6-figure sales group where the whole conversation started. Thanks. We'll see you guys later. Bye.